Hi everyone and welcome for tonight's session. This is Surya from Document360 team and I'm excited to welcome you all for tonight's session on UI and AI, two must-have gems for technical writers. We truly appreciate you taking the time off your busy schedules to join us. Now I'm delighted to introduce our speaker, Arka Sarkar, who's a technical writer at Servicenow. So with over a decade of experience in technical writing, Arka has worked with top industry players like Avaya, Nuance, and VMware. So his unique approach combines UX principles, structured content, and AI-driven strategies to create seamless, intuitive, and high-impact documentation. So in today's webinar, Arka will be sharing insights on the evolving role of technical writers, emphasizing the importance of UX writing and AI-powered tools in crafting documentations that both user-friendly and efficient. So by the end of this session, you will have, actionable tips and tricks that can help you enhance your documentation process and improve the overall user experience. So if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box and we'll make sure to address them towards the end of the session. So with that, the stage is all yours, Anka.
Hey, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be here among all of you, all the global technical writers who, like me, live and breathe the art of making complex things simple, right? I'll start with, how over the 20, 30 years, past 20, 30 years, field of technical writing and has evolved and changed, tremendously changed through many ups and downs and technology changes, right? So in 60s and late 80s we have seen that we used to have manually printed documentations, and from that we slowly moved towards desktop publishings, where we used to just do PDF copies, and then from PDF copies we had content management systems, and we started introducing various HTML outputs where it was little bit more intuitive and it has little bit more context, right? And from there, fast forward to 25, now we are writing for everything, be it mobiles, apps. We are introducing a lot more multimedia like videos, and then we are writing for APIs, and then we are also writing for in product helps, and we are using more contents in the in the product. And just think about it, though AI has changed the game completely, right? Uh, with the evolutions of how we used to write and how AI has disrupted it completely. Uh, and if you just think about beyond 2030, probably we'll be writing more and more content in the UI. Think about using VR systems, AR systems, when content will be the experience for the users. And this demands a lot more from the technical writers, right? Yeah, users, today's user don't want to leave the screen. They want answers right now with minimum simple clicks. So we need to be in a positions to give them all that they need. These demands, that you technical writers do a lot more. We are not confined to writing just features. We need to go out there and be involved in every process of the documentation, every process of the product development, right? So with that comes a lot more challenges. Though from the late 80s, our tools has changed, our output has changed, so has the change we need to do with our skills. And when there is this challenges, we have this opportunity to shine better. When you have the right skill, we can definitely shine in the competitive market. And with this shine, I'll start our today's topic, which is UX and AI, the two gems that all technical writers should have. Why I'm saying these are gems? Because UX will be the center of everything that we are doing right now. The technical writers won't be just writing feature documentations. We will be involved in more and more writing in the UI. And with the AI as our good allies, we can perform much faster. We'll have more information we can process faster, and we can create our content faster. And before we jump into the presentation, a little bit about me. I'm working in the technical writing field for decades now. I love products and UX and try find ways to help users do their job better and faster. Right? And recently I have fallen in love with the AI. I'm trying experiencing various chatbot, AI assistants. I'm running a 2, 3 locally as well. On the personal front, I stay with my family, parents and wife. I like to explore life and try to live fullest, love by, love music, long drive, good workout, and I also reading I love reading books, especially Indian scriptures. Okay, lots about me. Nick, let's we jumped into today's agenda. Okay, so in today's webinar, we just wanted to understand how and why UX is important for technical writers, how we can get involved in UX and start UX writing, starts contributing more in the UI, right? Start helping our users better through our copies, which is known as UX writing. And we'll also see a key UX fundamental principles and writing principles. Also, in the next half, we'll see how AI can be our new allies, a tool that is must have for all technical writers. We'll see different types of AI, closed AI, open AI, and we will see basic of prompt engineering, some of the prompt that you can use in your day-to-day writings so that you can do your job faster. And we'll also see what we can or we should not do with AI. And with that, we'll see how we can be a future ready for the new and emerging technology that is coming in our way. Okay, so UX. Before we understand why we need to understand UX and why UX is required, we need to understand what will happen if the UX is not good, right? UX means user experience. If the product experience is not good, it will lead to people will not using our app. They will leave our app faster. If our website is slow, we'll see that most more people will leave the site faster, because nowadays user attentions is the window of attention is very short and limited. It will also impact the brand perceptions, and slowly we'll see that we are losing the competitive advantage, and these all will lead to loss of revenue. There are researchers found out that a badly designed interface can lead to 30% drop in user retention. That huge. Think about the total mobile app market. 30% drop will be a catastrophic, right? We have seen in the past that Snapchat, when they mix personals and influencer content in the same place, and they didn't take user advice, there was a 1.3 billion drop in the market. There was a juicer company, they gained 400 millions in the first round of collections, but due to poor design, it was about a product which will help user juice faster from the packages. So people, uh, they didn't actually take users experience in the center. They focused on the aesthetic, and people find out they can squeeze the bottom bottles and make better juices than that machine, right? So if we have a poor UX design, it will cost us money. So what is UX then, and why should we care? So user experience is all about how people feel when they interact with your product, right? What is their experience? Easy for the user to do their job? Is our product is helpful to make them success in their job? People will come to your product only when they require something, right? And if they are not able to success in what they came to do in your product, then that is not a good UX. A good product design is about functionality rather than aesthetics. So user will be naturally drawn to easy to use products, right? And we have to think about UX now because the market is so competitive. Every day you will see new apps coming, and every day they are trying to solve some problems for the users. And if your design is not that good and you are not keeping the user in the center, then you are losing the competitive edge. And when you are talk about user experience, we, the writers, comes into the pictures, right? Because without the content, design is nothing but just aesthetics and diagrams. So through our writings, through our copies, we help the user to do their job faster and better. That's where UX writing comes, and many people call it in different names. They call it, UX writing, micro copy, UI writing, you name it. But the fundamental is same, that you are helping your users perform their job better by your copy. You are guiding them, you are helping them. So UX writing is a multifaceted role. You have to do a lot more than just writing, right? So everything technical writers do, similar things UX has to do. They need to understand user, they need to test their copies, they need to optimize their copies, and then make an enjoyable experience for the user. So we'll come to that, the writing part, later. Before that, let's understand very few key concept about the UX and how we need to understand user better. So there is this concept called user flow, right? So user flow is referred to a path or sequence of steps that a user takes to complete specific tasks or achieve a goal within a product, right? So for example, here we have seen that we can see that customers comes to your e-commerce stores, they browse through the product, then they will add it to the cart, they will check out. Then if the customer doesn't have an account, they will create an account, and then they will add your payment options, and then they will check out and have the product at home. So that's success for them. So people have a goal when they came to your product. So the goal is to buy your product, use your product, or solve their some problem that they are having, right? So if we understand this part better, so what is the entry point? What are the actions users are taking? Uh, where the decisions making is happening? Do they need any help in the decision making? And what is the end? So if we understand end to end how the flow user is following, we'll be able to help them better, right? So for example, in this case, if when the user is browsing and they are trying to add something in the cart, and the button is says proceed instead of add into the cart. If we say proceed, people might get confused and they might not take that action because they are familiar with cart better. So your copy makes a lot of difference, right? So as a technical writer or UX writer, we can interchangeably use the term. If we understand user flow, we can help them better, we can guide them better, right? And once we understand the user flow, let's look at something called user journey. So now user flow was something that happens within the product, but user journey is happens before they comes to the product, in your product, and after they leave to your product, right? So it's a complete end-to-end journey that we need to understand where the people is coming from, what is the motivation behind the user to come to your apps, what their emotional state is, what they are thinking, what is their mind talk is. If we understand that, then we can understand where and how we can help them. So for example, here we are seeing that the person is trying to switch their uh, data carrier plan or calling plan, mobile plan, right? So what happens when he thinks about it? Oh, I might find something more cheaper. So there, mentally he's getting happy, or the person is getting happy. And when he was in, that person is comparing different packages, because of the cognitive load where you have to take decisions, the mood goes down, right? That person is thinking what offers will be ideal, what offer will be not. Oh, it's too difficult to find different product, you know then once that person finds the perfect product, then the deals, negotiations and all that happens, and then they select it, right? If we understand this journey, then we can help them proactively rather than reactively. So we can probably, once they are, if you see many mobile carrier, what they do now, they give you all the option to compare and find out what is the cheapest plan. And if you stay in that cart for certain times, you'll get a calls or you'll get some messages from there proactively saying, okay, are you facing any problems, let me help you with that. So if you understand the user journey better, we can help the user through our content better, right? We can help them where they are confused. We can make them, or we can give them confidence where they are thinking about whether to do some actions or not, right? And also we can help them stop from doing mistake by adding frictions. Friction is something we introduce when we are trying to make sure that user don't accidentally do something, right? All these, once we understand the flow and the journey, we can then create our content so that the users can use their use our product efficiently, faster, and do their job better, right? you know Once we understand that user motivations, where they need help, how we can help them with our copies, right? And that's called UX writing. So when you are writing in the UI and helping user, with their experiences, that's called UX writing. And that UX writing is not very, there is a lot of similarities between technical writings and UX writing. And that's why a technical writer has a very competitive edge when it comes to UX writing, because you already know the fundamentals. Every fundamental that is applicable for technical writing is also applicable for UX writing. So for example, we need to, in technical writing, we need to write clear, concise, and constant, right? The same thing is applicable here as well. We need to use simplified language. We need to understand users better. We need to understand their moods, and then we we follow all the general rules of writing in UX writing. Then what is the difference, right? So main difference comes here, the voice and tone, right? In technical writing, we always use imperative. We try to give instructions to the users. We have a very restrictive way of telling users how they can do their job. But in UX writing, we have a lot more creative um, rooms. So their voice and tones plays a big deal. So voice is something, for example, a persona or personality, right? So every brand has a personality, right? People don't actually react with the product. They think the product as a human, or in that sense they made a connections, because we human always try to make a human connection, whether it's with your product or any living beings or anything else, right? So we try to have emotional context. So all humans will perceive the product as a, and it gives some kind of personality to the product, and your voice is that personality. So voice is always constant, and tone is flexible. Tone is where, based on users emotional state, we need to change the tone. So for example, if you are from India, then we can think about Amitabh Bachchan. And if you are from from global outside India, think about Johnny Depp. So whenever we say this name, in our mind we kind of imagine how these two characters are. So that is our personality or brand persona. That's voice. That will be always constant. You need to find your brand voice, brand personality, and then you can change the tone depend on the user mood or user actions. So for example, we need to have a different tone when the user is doing something and that person is successful at it, right? Or when they face an error message, we need to change our tone. So for example, when we see a success message, we can be playful, we can give them encouragement and congratulations and all that. But when there is an error message, we need to be serious and help the user, because that person is already frustrated because they are getting that problem, right? We need to guide them so that they can resolve the error faster. So brand voice and tone is important because, as I said, people always connect with the personality, right? And all brands comes under these few personalities, that is called brand archetype. So there are these few branch archetype, like the innocent, hero, ruler guy, caregiving, and so on. You can see this circle. Every brand comes under this chart. So you have to figure out where your brand comes into the picture. Which brand archetype is your brand comes into, right? So for example, let's take a example of Rolex. So whenever we say Rolex, you kind of give that brand a personality. You think, okay, it's expensive, it's exclusive, right? So similarly, if we say Nike, it comes under hero, because we see Nike is always, you know, they are overcoming problems, overcoming obstacles, successful in playing pros sports and all that. So you need to find out what your brand voice is by figuring out what is the brand type your brand falls under. Either talk to your marketing team or see if you have a branding voice already. So once you find your brand voice, you can cater all your content as per the brand type. So we need to understand few golden rules, right? When we are writing, we need to understand that people comes to your product for something. So we need to give the user what they want. It's See, whatever happens always happens to the person, not the apps or the softwares, right? Always, try and empathize with the user. Then you need to understand that you are writing for various set of users. So you should not use any jargons or culture specific words, and not because most of the people there, there will be various people who are using your product, right? So use then you always use single call for actions. Every page will have one actions, because if you have multiple action buttons, then it will be confusing for them, right? Well, let's look at some of the examples of good UX. Why I'm saying good UX, here you can see two examples, right? One is called empty state. So for example, most of the product, when you open for the first time and you see there is nothing, we always see, okay, there is nothing to see, or blank page, or sometime we see no data available, right? But if we cater this page to give the user some call for actions, it will be easier for the users to understand. Say here, because there is no communities yet, it is giving a clear instructions on how to create communities, and also they are giving recommendations. In the next screen, you see that the whole process of you know creating the experience is step by step. It's guiding the users by giving clear messages and also proactively helping the user. Here always lead with the benefit, right? You see the Grammarly, right? It's a grammar correction tools or writing correction tools. It's, if you see the copy, it says what you'll get out of this product, and also one single actions, clear call for actions. There is not multiple but one. Here we are nudging in the second recommendations overview, we are nudging the users and making them confident that the reviews that they are getting are not, the user can't change it. Here you see the same thing. Always lead with the benefit and give clear call for actions. And in the second example of mail chiefs, you can see that this is something typical gesture type of product which plays or try to have fun with their content, and you see how they have catered the 404 error message. Okay, so once we understand how we can write few basic examples and rules of UX writing, we can start our UX writing journey there. And once we get experience, AI can make us very efficient in our tasks. It can help us creatively. It can help us do our job faster by helping us curate copies. We can do brainstorm with them. We can edit our task, and also we can create you know even you can bounce off ideas with the AIs. You can find out what are the things you want to present. You want to find out some informations. You can understand complex information very quickly by summarizing it. So there are a lot more uses we can do with the AI. But before that, let's little bit look into the basic fundamentals. I'll not go into very deep, but let's just go over the few of the fundamentals of how the processor or LLM works. So here I have taken an example of Llama 70 billion models, right? So what they do, they basically, the LLMs have two files in like, if you go down to the gist of it, one is parameter file, one is crun file. Why is called C? Because the language they use for programming is called C. They use the C language to create these files. And this parameter is actually where the magic happens, right? How they process the knowledge, is where parameter happens. So 70 billions means 70 billions parameters are here. Now the 70 billion parameters is almost like 1 terabyte of data. There are like several terabytes of data, um, the, the model is trained on. And those terabytes of data, they compressed into a small parameter files, which is like 140 GB big. Like you see, this parameter file is 140 GB big, right? That's why it takes a lot of processing power, and that's why we see that all the Nvidia market share is going up, because this to process we need a lot more GPUs. So parameter files is where the magic happens, where the prompts are, where the learnings are stored, and the C files is how it processes the prompts. Now let's look at different types of AI that we have. Okay, so we have two different, very distinct, different type of AIs. One is called closed AI, and another is open. So how many people have already used AI or using AI, right? Can you see in the chat? Right.
It's
Right. So
visible. Okay.
right. So we know, like, most of the people probably have used either Chat GPT or Groks or something which are closed, right? It is given by big companies who create and maintains in a very closed environment. We don't know what happens actually, how the models are trained and all that. But there is also something called open AI, which is created by a lot of people. They come together as a community and create these open AIs. So open AIs are always publicly available for anyone to view, modify, and distribute. You can modify, customize, and you can remove bias, because we all know, like, the closed AI that we use have a lot of biases, right? Because it's trained on certain data, and then there are a lot of restrictions that is put on place. Like for example, if you ask the chat GPT to make a joke on woman, probably they won't make it. So let's try that. Can we try make a joke on man? Right, so it gives me a joke. So let's see if it makes a joke on woman. Ah, cool. It's jailbreak probably makes a joke on old people. Great. So I think this ChatGPT is already jailbreaked or something. So they're giving us uh, cool jokes. But mostly you will see there are a lot of biases there where if you ask something, let's say how to make a bomb. Yeah. So so they won't be able to give you that, right? So there are a lot of restrictions and biases put in place because we don't know how the AI is trained. But open AIs are more open, so they are free to use mostly. But the core AIs are proprietary, they're not public. You need to pay money to use them, but typically they are a bit faster, and they have a lot of, in the back they have a lot of processing powers, because a lot of billions of dollars are spent on that. And OpenAI is made by community, so they don't have all that processing power. But the closed AI lack the transparency. You don't know how your data will be used. Like whatever you put into the prompt, everything will be consumed, or everything will be used to train the model. But the open AI, everything is transparent. You can run it locally, and all your data will be with you and never leaving your system. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this, some of the examples of the arena, right? So this is one place, I'll share the links as well. This is one place where you can find all the GPT models, all the models that is there. And in these, people make this model compete each other, and based on that, based on certain parameters and benchmarking, the ranks are decided. You see all your models like Gemini 3, Gawk, everything which is our proprietary are ranking on top because they have a lot more processing power. But here you see DeepSeek, which is kind of in the 8th place, which is not a license, and it's community, so it's open one. So you can access a lot more LLM models that probably some of them you never heard of here, and they are ranked based on their performance. And from here you can also go and open their sites. Try Gemini's from here. You can see DeepSeeks, but DeepSeeks, because we won't be able to run it in certain places. So when that you can access it or have try go and chat. So here it works similar to ChatGPT, but it's faster and better. So I wanted to show you this arena because it gives you a lot more access to different chatbot models and different LLM models. And you can see the ranking. You can choose yourself which models you want to use, whether you want to go for the open source model, which are free, you can access with transparency, or you can have go for the closed model, which have more processing powers and it will give you more better results, um, but you don't know how your data is using. And to right. And to, as always, to uh, talk to this LLM, you need to understand basic of prompts, right? So I'll just go over a few prompt engineering basics so that you can create or curate your prompt better. I know many people are using prompts, so let's start with the structure, right? So if you see, basically we can divide it any prompt into these three sections. One is modifier, then what is the goal, main subject, and then multiple modifiers. So modifiers could be anything, right? Instructions, right? Or type of output you want, say blog post, who is your target audience, what kind of data you want, all that could be a modifier. So you can start with something, write something for me, summarize something for me. If you just give, say, write a blog post for me, it will give you a blog post, but it will be more generic. So the more detailed your prompt is, you'll get better results. So always add multiple modifier to your prompt, so it will give you curated, more accurate result. For example, if you want a blog post, you have to understand who are the user for that blog post, who are your audience, what kind of SEO complements you want, what is the structure, what is the length, and what is the tone, voice, role you want to use. Once you understand everything, you can give better prompts. So for example, you can write something like that. Take this example, right? So we'll say, just so let's go to chat GPT and give, write a blog post. It will give you, and write a blog post about chat GPT, and it will give you some result, right? But if you curate your prompt like that, for example, say, let's go back to our modifier, right? So we'll say, write, we'll give it a role. So first, we'll just give it a role, say, as a content writer with 12 years of experience, write a blog post which is your subject about chat GPT, and then we'll add more modifier, right? Make it SEO compliant, structured, within 500 words or 200 words for saving time, and it will give you more structure, accurate, and within that limit. You see, it's better than what was there. So when you add more and more modifier to your prompt, make it more accurate or more curated to your needs, it will give you better results. Okay, because we have less time, let's go over a little bit advanced prompting, that is called short prompting. Yeah, short prompting is where we are giving the model a little bit of examples. So we are training them on something that we want. Say for example, here I have given a taken a post from LinkedIn, and I like that post because it was looking for some job. And see, this one is the post, like, I'm looking for a technical publication specialist, lead writer, blah blah blah. But I want a similar examples but in different things. So I will curate my prompt like this, create a LinkedIn post for me, but I'll change everything and then we'll give them the examples. So once we give them the examples, they will create better prompt for me. uh, because of time, I'm not just going over and showing you the prompts, but if you write it, it will exactly follow the example that you have given. You can also give multiple examples. So for example, in this chat, the task is classify the following statement as either positive or negative. You can give the LLM a series of examples and then write your prompt, and it will give you a correct result. And second advanced prompt is chain of thought. So when you are doing math calculations or little bit more complex calculation, if you just ask it to do the calculation, it will do the calculation, but chances are that it will make wrong calculations. So here comes the chain of thought prompting, where we are showing by examples that how that calculations works, and based on that thought, ChatGPT or the LLM will learn that technique and then will give you a result. See here, they in the first model output, they are just telling it to calculate, and it calculates and gives a wrong results. But if you see in the second example, it shows that Roger started with 5 balls, 2 cans, and then 3 balls, and shows how the calculations happens, and it gives correct answer. So you can do the similar things, but you can add a quick little small code, let's think step by step. So you write your entire prompt, and in the end you can just add this keyword called let's think step by step, and it will give you a result like that. So for example, I'll just quickly show 5 plus 5, 5 equals to what? Let's think step by step. So you'll see that it will start breaking everything, and it will show you entire process and give you a correct result, right? So it is useful when you want to have some calculations or a complex theory. And now you you can use all this prompt. Right now we'll see some example of good and bad, and you can use these examples to create your own copy. You can brainstorm, you can write your UX. So for example, if you have existing UX content, right, UX copy, micro copies for some 404, or you have seen it somewhere in the in the web, that okay, you like that kind of copy, you can just simply copy that UX text and give it as an example, and ask the LLM to write similar in and use this chat as the short prompting. You can give multiple examples of UX copies and ask it to reproduce similar, then it will understand what to do, and it will give you exact basic copy. You can also brainstorm ideas. So you can ask chat gpts or all these LLM open source model that what these are this is my product, and also this is my product and I want to do this, how we can make it better, how we can resolve, make users do this thing faster, where they will need help. And you chances are when you add more modifier into your prompts, you'll get a better result. So we'll just go over quickly basic few examples so that you can understand how good and bad prompts works. So for example, tell me about the revolutions will not give you exact results, or it will give you a vague result. But if you make it super crisp and to the point and give it more modifier, then then it will give you more better results, right? So the more in depth and more descriptive your prompt is, you will get better result, because through the prompt you are talking to the LLM. It's almost like writing code, so you have to be very specific and accurate with your prompts. Okay, so once we understand what we can do with the prompts, we'll also need to understand what are the things we should not do with the LLM. Okay, chances are you are using closed LLM. So in closed LLM, never share your personal data. Never share anything proprietary. Never share anything that is not there already available publicly. So because everything you give as a prompt, it will be used, chances are it will be used to train that model. So, and we don't know how, though whatever prompt you are giving, whatever informations you are giving, how the model is using it, nobody knows, because they hallucinate or they just create everything from scratch, and then through training, we make them understand which is right, which is wrong, and all that. So never share anything proprietary, anything which is private and personal. Always look for biases, right? So the whatever content they will generate, chances are there will be a bias. So you have to understand whether it's age related, whether it's culture related, whether it's gender related. So there chances are there will be biases, so you have to understand and find out those biases. Always edit your content. Whatever inputs you will get or whatever output you will get from the LLMs, you can use multiple LLMs that I have shown you in the arena, and to get the result you want, and then combine it and edit it so that you have your own voice in that. And never use, because people will understand some of the contents are written by there are tools to check whether it is completely written by tools or not. And always, if you want to use it in your company, always check with your managers and company policy, because many company doesn't allow use of all this LLM, or chances are they will have their own LLMs which is restricted and data is not passing to them. And use any basic sense that you should not ask anything. Even the chances are that in the open source LLM, that you whatever answer, whatever you ask, if the model is fine tuned and the bias and all these restrictions are removed, they will give you the answer. So don't ask anything that you don't normally want to do. Yeah, use the basic sense, right? So with that we'll come to our conclusion, right? So if we understand UX and AI better, we can use it to make our users' life better. And that will give us the competitive edge that we need. And that will give us the shine that we need in that competitive market. Because the technical writers are not only now writing feature documents, we need to do a lot more. We need to understand the UX. And with the AI, we can create or curate our copies better, faster, understand complex technical jargons, and ask it to simplify it so that we understand it better, faster, summarize bigger. If you have a developer documents, you can summarize it if that your company permits. Or if you want to learn new technology, you can just simply learn it step by step from the AI. So you can do a lot more once you understand UX and AI better. Just to wrap things up, I'll say that this webinar, it's not possible for me to give you entire what is UX writing and what is AI, but I hope from this webinar you understand the key principles, and you can look about this UX writing principles. You look about what is user flow, what is brand voice, what is tones, and you can get more information in that. You can also use the prompt that you have learned or you have seen in this webinar, and you use this prompt in your day-to-day life to understand UX better and make good writings. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Arka. The session was indeed insightful, and I'm sure the audience will agree with me. Yep, so a huge thank you, Arka, for walking us through the world of UX and AI in technical writing. So hope the practical insights and the real life examples shared tonight have given the audience new idea, on how to elevate content with better user experience. So to everyone who tuned in, thank you for taking the time to be here and for all your, amazing questions and comments. So it's been fantastic seeing your engagement, and we hope, you're walking away with actionable takeaways to apply in your day-to-day documentation process. So, we'll be sharing the session recording and slides soon, so keep an eye out for that. And of course, if you have any questions or want to learn more about Document 360, feel free to reach out. So we'll be back again with another exciting session soon. So till then, have a exciting day, and see you next time. All right. Thank you, Arka. Thank you all for joining tonight, everyone. Yeah, have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.